Let me ask you a couple questions here, some speed round from the community that I just thought was really great. And I know you talked about your night routine and how people struggle with that. You know, what are some fundamental must-haves you feel like for that evening wind down or evening routine?
I mean, for me, for starters, it is actually setting timelines on the things, on the way you shut yourself down or slow yourself down from the day. And I've got the same structure for my kids, and a lot of my stuff revolves around my kids. So I know that for my kids now, it's 8 o'clock, all devices are off, and that includes adults. All of us, devices are off at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, it's that getting ready for bed, it's that spending time together, it's that calming our body down so that we can get ready for bed, right? And just being present with each other and talking about the day and all that kind of stuff. Because family for me is everything. And that's, you know, for me, the happiest part of my day is, you know, I can have a great day, but if at the end of the day, I get to the end of the day and my kids had something tough going on, I'm like, oh, okay, what can I do to help them and support them? So it is that wind down process of shutting off from devices. And then just like I do in the morning process, it's being present with myself. And I notice the difference. You know, I'm not perfect about doing my planner all the time. Sometimes I'll miss a morning or miss an evening. And when I don't, I'm basically just not, just like I said in the example during this, I'm not being that pilot. I'm being that pilot who just runs on the plane and starts flying without going through my checklist process to make sure that I'm actually going where I want to go and doing what I want to do. And so I make sure to be present with myself emotionally and go, well, what am I actually feeling from today? What do I need to release? You know, whether it's anger or frustration, not really, I don't really get angry anymore. I used to be angry as a teenager, a good amount, but anger is not an emotion that I really dive into. Frustration definitely would be. But I recognize what emotions I have and I tap to release them, right? I acknowledge them and I release them so that I can actually get myself to bed. And I always just go back to acknowledging that I'm doing my best, right? That we're all doing our best. That, you know, no matter how much I, you know, want to beat myself up or think, oh, I could have done better, or I should be further along. I mean, that's a common theme for everybody is, oh, I should be further along in my life or my business or further along with my health. And I just acknowledge and go, hey, I'm doing my best. And the more I beat myself up about that, the more I rob my joy of being present with life. At the end of the day, what happens to me, what matters to me is my health. Like, man, when I can get a good run in or play soccer, that is the most alive I feel in any given day. And then just being present with people. And I have to always remind myself being present with people because I'm always around people. The question is, am I actually present with them in a way where I can enjoy those interactions? And so I just remind myself of those things. I do gratitude every evening. I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for in the evening. I think that's a really important process. I notice in my planner, literally the second I get to that part and I start tapping into gratitude, my whole body just goes, and it just calms me down. And I go, oh, yeah, there's always so much to be grateful for every single day. And so I go through that process. So those are just some of the things I do in the evening.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
Hi, your energy is infectious. I've got to say that first. I'm so nervous because I've never asked a question on Growth Day.
Oh, yay, Maria. Let's give her a round of applause for...
It's also a great fear of mine. Public speaking is something that ever since I was a little girl, it was always something that really, really frightened me. And throughout my career, it's always been the big block, the real block. But I wanted to come on today just to say thank you for this session because it's been amazing. I've never done tapping before. I sort of watched a bit of the replay, the last tapping session, but I didn't pay that much attention to it because I was doing the dinner for the kids and there was a lot going on at the same time. But I've come on today and I've practiced everything you've said, and I started off and I was up there, I was like really high, like a 9. And then I just felt, whoa, this calmness. And I can't believe it. I can't believe after just one go of it, this has had such an effect. So while you were chatting, I've downloaded the app on my phone and I'm going to fill it in straight away. And I'm going to do the whole tapping about why I procrastinate, because I'm that person that you were talking about. I'm that person who can't say no. I'm that person who puts everyone else before myself. I'm that person, I'm creating a course, but there's all sorts of blocks in my way. And I put the blocks there because I feel like what if I'm not good enough? All these things, even though I've got years and years and years of experience in my field, I still have, what if I'm not good enough? And I need to get rid of it, because everything you've said is so true. So I just wanted to say thank you. And thank you to Brendan and his team for doing this Growth Day, because it's the most amazing thing. And I started it on New Year's Day and I've not regretted it one bit. I just go from happiness to happiness with it. So thank you.
Sure. Well, Maria, let me touch upon a few things that you said, if it's okay with you. So one thing you mentioned is I am that person. And I am is just the strongest 2 words in the universe. That is your behavior. That is your pattern. And you know what? When you were little, it probably served you. When you were little, it probably was a way to make sure everyone got along and everyone was safe. When you are somebody that feels deeply, especially as a child, it becomes your responsibility to make everyone else happy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
It's such a common challenge. It's something that I've experienced myself. And the sensitivity, a lot of people think, oh, I wish I was less sensitive. It feels like a curse. It feels like I'm always feeling and taking on everything. But it also makes you, I imagine, really good at what you do, because you have the ability to have a certain kind of empathy and a certain kind of intuition, because you're really able to know the other person's experience and to help support them through. And so I say that because so oftentimes we get hard on ourselves, like, oh, this is my character default. But there's a light and a shadow to each side. And that side of you that always wants to help other people and is putting yourself last, yes, it is your big heart. And you can honor the good intention of that. And what you can say is, when you go to that pattern, instead of being like, oh God, I hate that I'm this way, or I can't believe this, say, I honor the part of me that cares deeply and wants to make other people happy. And I recognize that the best way to serve this world is by being able to take care of myself so I can serve. And so I say that because oftentimes our default is criticism and shame and feeling like we were different. But if we can see that behind all of that behavior is something that did serve us in the past, and simply say, this no longer serves me anymore. I appreciate that it served me in the past, but I'm ready for something different. And I also think that this is generational, and I see it very much with women. Our mothers and our grandmothers, they were the martyrs. You were praised by how much you could sacrifice and how much you could give. And by us stopping that pattern, because we're realizing that it's a way that we play small, we are stopping that from future generations. I have a baby girl in my belly right now. I have a toddler sleeping. I have a toddler, but this is my first girl. And so often I think about that. I think about, what are the things that I'm going to pass on to her? And as women, us being able to say no and taking time for ourselves is not just about us. It's a movement in consciousness that gives the younger generation an opportunity to truly find their voice and their power. So if you can find that meaning, then when you say no, it's not about you being a bad person. You know that it represents something so much greater, and that can serve you. And then when the anxiety comes up, that's when you can do the tapping to calm your body and let your body know that it is safe for you to say no. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Congratulations. And I really appreciate it. And I've really overcome such a massive hurdle just by talking on this platform today. So honestly, I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Jennifer, are you there?
Yeah, hi.
Awesome. What can I help you with today? What's your question today?
You are helping me, because my challenge, I have fear of speaking in front of people, so I'm just pretending I'm talking to you. So thank you for just letting me talk. I have social anxieties, like in these kind of situations, or when I'm speaking in front of people. So is there like a particular, I'm highly confident because of like I attribute it to my father and my brothers. Mm-hmm. Like I will do anything. I'll just go do stuff. Yeah. But I still get like anxiety inside, like before speaking. So it's mostly, I'm an action taker, but when it comes to like speaking, if you told me, well, go speak to 10,000 people or 5,000 people, then I'd do it, but I'd freak out and I don't have the tools to do it. So this is, I feel, really helpful. Is there a particular part of your app that would be like the most useful to me, who's not afraid to do anything, but
I know that
don't feel equipped?
I believe that there are tapping meditations in there for public speaking that you can use in those moments. You can also, if you just start to use the app and experience different ones, you'll find ones that really resonate for you. And I'll tell you, the most popular one we have in the app, I believe, is our anxiety meditation. And I think it's had something like, I don't know what the number is at now, but 400,000 plays of that meditation. On average, it reduces anxiety by something like 42% because we track it in the app. It's kind of cool. You calibrate before and after. So what I would suggest doing is using the app and testing it for yourself and going, you know what, this is the one that makes me feel the most calm and centered. And maybe what you can do as well is use different meditations and visualize yourself going on that stage. Right? So visualize the different components. As I said, when I went to get up on that stage, I knew the different triggers that were going to trigger me. I remember at one point, I thought I was ready and had mentally prepared. And all of a sudden I had this visualization of raising my eyes and seeing the crowd way in the back. And it freaked me out. All of a sudden I was like, boom, level 9 again. Because I hadn't prepared myself for those people in the back and how many people there'd be way back there. So go through and visualize those different components when you go to talk and tap through each one until you can visualize yourself confidently doing it. Now, this doesn't mean that you're going to tap and go out there with zero fear or anxiety. Truthfully, you shouldn't have zero fear or anxiety because a little bit of that fear and adrenaline gets you in the mode and makes you sharp. But you don't want to be, the challenge with being at a level 7 or 8 of fear and anxiety is that your brain is not going to be as on tune and ready to access the information as you want it to be. So you want to lower that fear and anxiety just so you show up as yourself, right? I mean, I always try to remind myself, whether I'm doing a live like this or if I'm going to speak on stage, like, hey, just be yourself, right? Anytime you try to be somebody else, people notice, right? And it's just not as congruent. If you just show up as yourself, you will do your best there. And again, just practice through visualization, doing the tapping, preparing yourself visually, going through that, mentally preparing in your head before you go out on stage or to speak in front of other people. You don't have to be at a 0. Just lower that stress or anxiety to a 2 or a 3 to whatever you feel comfortable getting yourself out there to do it. And then as you keep doing it, you're going to start to build that belief in yourself. Like, hey, you know what? I did that. And I would recommend, after you have a successful time, write it down. One of the things that we do not do enough when it comes to building our confidence is to write down the experiences where we did well. That when we're in those tough moments, we can go back to and go, hey, look, this is what I said when this happened last time. Or, you know what, last time when I spoke, this is what this person said to me. Write that down. I recommend this for anybody who's a coach who doubts themselves when they work with people. Whenever you get a great testimonial or a great comment, write that down so that when you're in those tough moments, you're like, oh, I've got no confidence. Let me go look at all these positive comments I've gotten from people, so you can connect to the work that you've done before. Because we're always going to have those fluctuations of up and down with confidence and courage, especially with practice. Maybe you do amazing speaking and then you take off a year and you have to go do it again. You're like, because those beliefs aren't fresh in your mind. So I hope that answered some questions for you and that helped a little bit. Do the mental preparation, visualize yourself, do future pacing of what it might be like, and then use one of the tapping meditations to continue to visualize yourself going through those steps and being successful doing it. And then, of course, right before you go to do it, I recommend take those 10 minutes before you go on stage and speak to use that tapping meditation that's going to center you where you see yourself doing it successfully right before you go on stage.
Thank you, which I have no intention of, but just like even this, maybe the tapping before was helpful to ask my question.
Awesome. No, I'm glad this helped.
Thanks for your time.
Your question.
Hello.
Hi, Audrey. How are you?
Fine. Nice to talk to you, and I want to thank you for your app because it's changed a lot for me. So thank you very much. And my question is, I'm about to do something I haven't done in a while, and I'm not sure I will find a way to if I have to relearn everything, I mean, as if I've done for long. So how can tapping could help me to process from step by step to relearn the different steps to do what I have to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So the place that I would start is, it sounds like maybe there's a little bit of stress and anxiety about having to
Yes.
relearn this, right? So,
Yeah.
so starting right there, even though I'm stressed and anxious about the thing that I have to do, I choose to relax now, tapping through the points. And then I would just imagine, so you could just close your eyes, tap through the points, and imagine what it is you have to do. I imagine that there's going to be a first step that you have to take, right? Whether, I don't know if you're going to a class or learning a new thing. So just see that happening. See yourself, like, let's say you were going back to school, okay? You're going back to school and you haven't been to school in 20 years and you're going, oh my gosh, and there's people that are younger than me there, and there's all these things going on. So you close your eyes, you tap through the points, you see yourself driving to the school. And you can imagine, I mean, what's incredible about the body and why the tapping works in this way is that if you have to go back to school, you can imagine driving back to school and feel anxiety in your body, right? Nothing's happening, but you're imagining it. So you tap through the points and you release that. And then you go and you get to the school and you walk in the classroom and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel now my anxiety went up. Good. Tap through the points, bringing it down. So you're just riding that wave of what is it that I'm feeling? What is it that's coming up that I'm stressed and anxious about? And then bringing it down. Within the app, we have, I'm trying to think of what might be helpful. We have a test anxiety one in the app, if anything is related around learning. There's a sports performance flow creator that could be interesting because then you can really visualize. I know it's related to sports, but it applies to other things. You can visualize that change happening. And then the other thing that might fit your need is we have a couple on fears and phobias. So like there's a fear of flying, but you can just replace whatever this fear is with one of those fears and phobias. So those resources might help.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.